Chapter 14, Using Presentational Aids. Why do we use presentational aids? First of all, look at my little comic there. 75% of what we know comes to us visually. When you can enhance your presentation by showing things to the audience that helps solidify things in their memory, that is always a good thing. So why do we use presentational aids? We do that to increase the clarity of our message, to make our points more clear and easily understandable. It does reinforce the impact of the message. So think about that. When you're using a presentational aid, you should use the aid in conjunction with the most important points of your message. It also helps promote a dynamic presence, which means it actually gets you out from behind that podium and allows you to interact with things and to be more mobile, which creates a more dynamic presentation. Working with props also often help enhance confidence. Even working with a PowerPoint, it helps you to stand more upright, to have better posture, and to be able to glance at the PowerPoint, which keeps your head up, and then right back at the audience. Different types of presentational aids you can use. You can bring in an object, you can bring in a picture, you can use things like diagrams, graphs, and charts, maps, a film, a video, handouts for your participants, or audio files. Keep in mind that if you want to use a film or some sort of a video clip, it needs to be an appropriate length for the length of your speech. So if you are giving a 5 to 7 minute speech, I would not encourage you to have a video more than, say, 30 seconds. Tips to consider before your speech. Select a visual aid that is best suited to your resources and your speech. So think about our room. What kind of lighting do we have? What kind of electrical outlets do we have? What type of computer is in the room? What type of software is on the computer? The computer does have access to the internet, so that information is available to you. We do have a smart board, we have a dry erase board, so there are things that you can use, but think about the room and what's going to make the most sense. Make sure that whatever you use, everyone in the audience can see it. So if you have a picture you want to show, it either needs to be large enough to see in the back, or you need to project that up onto the screen to be sure that everyone can see it. The danger in passing a picture around is that as each individual person gets the picture, it is taking their attention away from you. Make sure that the aid communicates the information clearly. So if you're using a PowerPoint, watch your colors, make sure you're not too cluttered, make sure that there's a good contrast between the background and the text. Before your speech, make sure that their aid is professional in appearance, that you have spelled things correctly, that you've used pictures that aren't too fuzzy. Practice using your presentational aid. You do not want the first time that you're running through your demo to be up in front of the classroom. You actually need to make sure that you've worked with it several times before giving the actual presentation. Arrange for safe transportation for your aids. If you're bringing in something like a pumpkin or you're bringing in something like a sword, these things might need to be approved with public safety, and you may need to make sure that they get to the room with no problem. Right? Carry backup supplies just in case. So if something goes wrong, do you have a plan B? Make sure you position the presentational aid properly. So it needs to be in front of the room, again, somewhere where everyone can see it. Test your presentational aid. You may want to do a run-through of your presentation with a small group of people, friends, family members, significant others, things like that, before you come into the class to give the presentation. While you're giving the speech, reveal your information only when you are ready for the audience to see it. Remember back when we talked about an attention getter and maybe hiding something in a box or putting something under a blanket? Again, only let them see it when you're ready for them to see it. Make sure you talk to the audience and not to your aid. So if you're cooking something, yes, you need to look down, or if you're mixing something in a bowl, you want to pay attention. But at the same time, you have got to keep making eye contact with your audience. refer to the presentational aid. So point at specific things on the aid in order to draw the audience's attention to those specific pieces. Keep your presentational aid in view until the audience understands it. So make sure you're not going through your slides too quickly or holding a picture up and putting it down so fast that people miss it. When you're done working with the aid, put it away. Because again, you don't want that to provide a distraction, something that deters the audience from actually listening to you and focusing on you. Handouts can be a really good idea. It's a good way to give a lot of information to your audience in a nice, succinct way. But think about how you're going to distribute those. One idea is to pass them out before the presentation, but just ask everyone to keep them upside down. Or you can have someone in the audience pre-arranged to pass them out for you at a designated time. Or you can hand them out when the presentation is completely over. Again, you want to minimize distractions during the course of your presentation. Things to be careful about, or really the most important thing to be careful about, is that your presentation is not the presentational aid. So for example, if you're using PowerPoint, PowerPoint is simply a tool you are using in order to enhance the presentation. It does not become the presentation. You still want the audience looking at you and not only at your slides or your pictures. As you're developing your visual aid, be sure to check out page 256 in your textbook. There is a checklist of do's and don'ts, and it can be very helpful as you are preparing for your demonstration speech.